At the start of high school, Tomo confesses to her male friend Jun that she loves him. He in return calls her his best bud and declares that he loves her too. Both Tomo and Jun are actually neighbors and childhood friends who went to different elementary schools, after which they met each other again in middle school. Jun noticed her skirt in middle school and started making fun of her, which made her realize that he completely sees her as a boy. In the present, they both walk to school together and he smacks her bum playfully, which embarrasses her. She in return smacks his torso, which hurts him a lot since she knows karate. Later at school, she wonders how long Jun will keep seeing him as a boy, and her friend Misuzu reminds her that she definitely deserves this treatment from Jun because she has always participated in boyish sports, plus she never played with her when they were in kindergarten. Tomo apologizes to her and Misuzu comments that she would see her as a boy too if she hadn't seen her womanly body parts in the bathroom or in the locker room. She advises her to start speaking like a woman first by making her tone polite, and later Tomo listens to her advice as she starts talking to Jun in a womanly voice during lunch break. They head to the cafeteria together and he thinks that she is speaking like an old man, which pisses her off. They start arguing with each other and he grabs her shirt to beat her up. She becomes embarrassed and tells him to cut it out, but when he doesn't listen, she smacks his jaw real hard. They both fight with each other and later she returns to her home all beat up. She tells her dad, who is a dojo master, that she had a fight with Jun and he tells her not to disgrace the family name by losing. The next morning, Tomo and Jun both walk to school together and he keeps asking her to forgive him even though he does not know what he did wrong. He tickles her to get a response and she smacks his face again. He keeps trying to convince her to talk to him as he declares that he cannot tolerate it if she ignores him for even a second. Her heart melts at his pleading and she starts talking to him again. Later during lunch break, she and Misuzu eat lunch together and she tells Misuzu that she cannot eat lunch with Jun, otherwise it will look like they are both dating. Misuzu thinks that she prefers to eat lunch with Jun, so she drags her to Jun and declares that the three of them are going to eat lunch together. Tomo doesn't think it's a good idea because Jun and Misuzu hate each other's guts, and just then Jun asks her to give him her fried chicken. She holds it out for him, so he grabs her arm and makes her feed him, which frustrates her a lot. Later, Jun's friend Tanabe asks him how far he and Tomo have gone, and Jun thinks he is talking about the karate sports, so he tells him that they have been doing it since they were children. He even compliments Tomo's body, which makes Tama misunderstand the situation even more. Misuzu overhears the conversation and goes to tell Tomo that Jun was talking about her in such a way. Tomo then rushes to Jun's class and beats him up for ruining her maidenly honor like that. Meanwhile, Misuzu approaches Tanabe and clarifies the whole situation. She tells him to not bother them because she believes that only she can play with the both of them. After school, it starts to rain and both Jun and Misuzu come across each other on the door. They both think that Tomo is coming to give them an umbrella, and she reminds him that they all used to be good friends. He recalls that the three of them used to play a lot of pranks on others, but somehow Misuzu was always missing when they would get in trouble. She also remembers that he never joined any clubs because Tomo had a dojo club where they could both practice together. She calls him pathetic and even asks him what he would do if Tomo ever got a boyfriend. She teases him that Tomo will definitely cozy up to some other guy, and he pushes her outside in the rain in anger. Tomo arrives and finds the both of them waiting, so she tells Jun that she is going home with Misuzu. However, Misuzu orders her to share the umbrella with Jun instead and forces the both of them to walk home together. They walk home and Tomo maintains some distance from him, so he tells her to move closer to her. She makes an excuse that she smells a lot, so he stops and starts to sniff her out. She becomes embarrassed and runs away. Meanwhile, Tanabe finds Misuzu at the gate and offers to walk with her, so she takes his umbrella from him and walks away without him. Jun runs up to Tomo and notices that her shirt is soaking wet, due to which he can see her milky jugs. He hands her the umbrella and storms off in frustration. Sometime later, Jun is practicing in her dojo and she knocks out her senior named Masaki, who is her secret admirer. Later they both discuss how she is the only girl in the boys section, and she explains that she was very rough with some fresh girls, due to which they are all scared of her and she cannot go back to the girls section now. Masaki thinks that she is really charming and has a lot of womanly charm, so Tomo keeps asking her what he likes about her because no man has ever complimented a loser like her. He asks her to have confidence in herself and assures her that she doesn't need to change herself. The next day some girls are about to approach Masaki to confess to him when they spot Tomo talking to him. They realize that she is actually a girl despite her boyish look, so they decide to take care of her. Meanwhile, Misuzu approaches Jun and tells her that Tomo has made a guy friend in the dojo. She teases him a lot, so he takes out her hair scrunchie and throws it away. Later during class, Tomo sits with Jun to read from his book and she shows him Masaki's picture from the dojo. He tries to make her realize that he will feel really lonely if she ends up becoming someone's friend or girlfriend, but she doesn't understand. Afterwards, the senior girls approach Tomo and ask her to meet them after school. Tomo asks them whether they are ready to fight her and they run away in fear. They hear from some other girls that Tomo is actually very skilled who can even kill them in a fight, which scares them even more. Meanwhile, Tomo tells Misuzu about the fight, so she advises her to just verbally argue with them rather than beat them up physically. After school, she meets up with them and they tell her that they like Masaki. She thinks that they are asking for love advice from her, so she asks them to become her friends and assures them that she can help them out. The next day, she tells everything to Misuzu, who tells her that people call the natural lady killer behind her back. June comes and then drags her away to eat lunch together. One day, Tomo and June are heading somewhere via train and June asks her to sit with him. She sits beside him but then starts to feel very self-conscious, so she stands up and starts thinking that he doesn't consider him a girl at all. Soon a creepy dude stands behind her and starts to feel her up. She thinks that she should just beat him up, but she doesn't want June to know what's going on. He notices the creepy guy and quickly confronts him. He then reports him to the authorities and takes care of everything. After everything is done, they both walk home together and she thinks that maybe he is finally starting to see her as a girl, but then he says that maybe she should stop wearing skirts altogether, which stops her from hoping further. The next day, Misuzu fusses over her as she asks her whether she is alright and Tomo assures her that everything is okay. She tells her that June told her to stop wearing skirts because they don't look right on her, after which she beat him a lot. Misuzu thinks that June may have said such a thing to prevent any groping incident in the future, and she also notices that Tomo wears a very short skirt, so she asks her why she wears it so high. Tomo explains that it's easier for her to move around with a short skirt, and Misuzu asks her to take her shorts off. She in return thinks that she is being asked to do something very perverted, and Misuzu explains to her that it's normal to wear only panties underneath the skirt. She reveals that she does the same, but Tomo doesn't believe her and thinks she is a creep. After school, Misuzu approaches June and asks him to walk home with Tomo as she is waiting for him at the gate. He feels happy that she isn't mad at him anymore and rushes to meet her, but stops dead in his tracks when he sees that she isn't wearing her long boxer shorts. He slaps himself and then proceeds to walk towards home with her. She apologizes to June for beating him up previously as she thinks that he is acting weird, and meanwhile he runs into a pole. They both board the bus together, where June feels like everyone is staring at Tomo's legs, so he keeps glaring at everyone even though no one is looking at her. They then get off and start walking together. Tomo thinks that he is running away from her, so she runs after him and he turns around to see her. Just then a wind blows her skirt up and he sees the heavenly goods on display, which knocks him out cold. After he wakes up, he tells her that he was in the wrong to tell her to dress up differently, but she shouldn't go around wearing clothes that she feels embarrassed in. The next day he doesn't talk to her for half of the day, and Misuzu approaches him to ask what's wrong. She keeps teasing him about Tomo's shorts, so he flicks her forehead. Later he tries to reset his memories as he approaches her in his casual manner, and he swings his arm around her shoulder, which makes her feel frustrated. One day the school hottie Carol arrives in class and the boys surround her from the get-go. Tomo wonders whether the boys surround her because she is the girliest and wonders how she can become feminine like her, so Misuzu advises her to at least drop the dumbbell that she is holding. She explains to her that guys like girls like Carol because of her defenseless personality, which hits them right in their instincts. Tomo keeps thinking about her words and comes across Masaki taking a walk with Carol. Masaki reveals that Carol is actually his old friend and that they are kind of engaged since their families have talked it out. Carol reveals that they have even married 3 times when they were children, which freaks her out, and she doesn't seem to know who Tomo is despite them being classmates. She thinks Tomo is a guy, and Masaki asks Tomo to forgive her since she doesn't mean any harm. She then pokes Tomo's cheeks and calls her a dummy. Later she keeps calling her a dummy throughout the day, and Misuzu realizes what's going on. Soon Carol approaches Misuzu and tries to dig up dirt about Tomo. Misuzu tells her that she won't tell her anything about Tomo since they are best friends, while she thinks that she can use her to bring June and Tomo closer. She tells her that June can help her defeat Tomo and sends her to him. Carol approaches June and asks him to help her defeat someone. He thinks that she wants him to train her, so he decides to help her out by training her. He even asks her to punch his hand, so she punches his face instead. After school he comes to her class and takes her away for some training, while Tomo goes into shock on seeing them together. Misuzu implies to her that June and she may be romantically getting close, and this freaks her out even more. Meanwhile June takes Carol to the gate to make her run, but she gives up after running for just a few seconds. Tomo heads to her dojo, where she almost ends Masaki's life as she keeps thinking what June and Carol might be doing together. June tries to train Carol, but she cannot do anything at all. He then makes her do jumping rope exercises because she reveals that she can only do jumping rope and her melons keep bouncing up and down, so he looks up to stop himself from looking at anything. Tomo rushes to the gym in haste to find out what he and Carol are up to, and she comes across June holding Carol's neck to teach her self-defense. She lunges at June and demands to know what he was doing. Meanwhile, Carol realizes that Tomo is feeling jealous of her and that she actually has the hots for June and not Masaki, so she declares that she gives up and leaves the two of them alone. Later, Carol takes Misuzu to a restaurant to eat cake because she helped her out with Tomo, and she reveals that she actually is a pathetic loner without even a single friend. Misuzu asks her to become Tomo's friend instead, and Carol reminds her that she did a lot of nasty things to her. Misuzu reveals that Tomo is a dunce who won't remember anything she did and that she is even her best friend. The next day, she approaches Tomo and asks her to become her friend. Tomo instantly agrees, and she calls her an angel who doesn't hold grudges. She also asks Misuzu to become her friend, and she also agrees only because Carol is rich. Later, Tomo tells June that she became friends with Carol and he doesn't seem to care about Misuzu or Carol. He then accidentally mentions that he used to actually date Misuzu in middle school, but he doesn't have a thing for her now. Tomo wonders why both June and Misuzu never told her that they dated in middle school, even though they are both her best friends. She later confronts Misuzu about it and asks her why she never told her about her middle school scandal. Misuzu reminds her that she only got to know about her crush on June right before they graduated middle school, and that none of them told her because they also wanted to forget about it. She then decides to spill all the beans, so she explains that they only dated for 3 days and that it all started when June asked her to go out with him out of nowhere. She agreed because she thought it would be a fun activity, and the next day they both went on a date where June took her cycling to the mountains. She almost lost her life as she cycled for 40 kilometers, and at the end he showed her a view which she didn't even like. The next day, he dragged her all around the town with him and she lost 5 kilograms in 2 days. She decided to dump him, but when she approached him, he told her that they should break up before she could even say anything. She ended up getting dumped instead, after which she sincerely started to hate him with all her heart. Tomo asks her whether they ever kissed, so she explains that they only held hands and did not advance more than that. Later, Misuzu approaches June and makes him recall how he avoided Tomo during the whole first year of middle school for some reason. Back in middle school, June and Tomo became best friends right when he and Misuzu broke up, which makes Misuzu think that there was definitely something going on. June tells her to just forget about it and punch him to let it all out, but she laughs evilly and walks away. On the way back, Tomo asks June again and again whether there is nothing going on between him and Misuzu anymore, and he assures her that nothing is going on. She asks him whether he likes anyone else now, and he reveals that he doesn't like anyone, which makes her even more happy. The next morning, the both of them arrive at school together and Masaki also joins them. Tomo introduces the boys to each other, and June realizes to his shock that Masaki is a guy because he was previously thinking that he is a girl. He smacks his head in reflex and Tomo smacks his face in return for treating Masaki rudely. He then greets Masaki and apologizes for hitting him right off the bat. He asks him about karate and promises to give him a good beating, so Tomo starts to drag him away as she apologizes to Masaki about his bad behavior. They both head inside where she tells him that she is now in the boys' karate club. After school, he asks her to walk home with him, but she tells him that she has plans with Carol and Misuzu. He starts pouting, so she teases him for acting like a kid, while Carol and Misuzu wonder why they aren't dating already. June then comes across Masaki on the way home, and he recalls that Tomo scolded him a lot for scaring Masaki. He tries to act nice with him by asking him questions, but Masaki gets even more scared of him. They both ride the bus together, where June reveals to him that he doesn't want to officially join the dojo club because he will lose to Tomo. Masaki informs him that Tomo was mentioning how June can beat her, and June explains to him that he can never win against her in a proper karate fight with formal rules. He reveals that he can still manage to beat her if they are just throwing punches at each other, and Masaki scolds him for punching a girl. They both discuss how they admire Tomo and want to become like her. Masaki thinks that they can become friends, but then June threatens him not to tell anything to Tomo, which makes him even more scared. The next day, Masaki and Tomo practice together at the dojo, where he tells her that he thinks June is actually a nice guy. She starts raving about how other guys find him intimidating, but she is glad that he finds him nice, while Masaki thinks about how terrifying June actually is. Later, she whines to him that June doesn't see her as a girl, and he is about to tell her that June cares about her a lot when suddenly June appears and threatens him not to spill anything to her. During the weekend, Tomo and Misuzu go out to a restaurant, and she tells Misuzu that she and June haven't hung out a lot since they started high school. She explains that June invites her out, but she usually avoids him because she feels self-conscious around him. Misuzu warns her that June may get close with someone else, due to which she needs to invite him out herself, and advises her to invite him out to karaoke to go shopping. The next day, Tomo invites him out to hang out, and he instantly accepts her invitation. Misuzu and Carol decide to take her shopping because she only owns boys' clothes, and they drag her to a shop after school. Misuzu explains to Carol that they need to start slowly with Tomo or else she will be too uncomfortable in girlish clothes. They buy clothes for her which aren't too boyish or too girlish, and after they are done, Tomo thanks the both of them for their help while they tell her to spill all the details after her date. During the weekend, Tomo meets up with June for their date and he freezes on the spot on seeing her in half-feminine clothes. They then head to a batting center where they both do some batting and she thinks that they are just hanging out like usual rather than doing anything different. They head to a bowling alley next where they play games and she keeps thinking that they are not doing anything different. She asks him to go for karaoke next and he eagerly agrees. They arrive at a karaoke room where Tomo doesn't know what she should do and June tells her that he only came with her because he wanted to have fun. He reminds her that he has always been following her lead since they were kids and that he used to be really scared as a kid, but in the end he always ended up having a lot of fun with her. She decides to have fun at the karaoke as well, so she picks a children's song and starts to sing it. He records her singing and she then continues to sing for 3 more hours because he refuses to sing anything in front of her. The next day she tells everything to Misuzu and Carol, after which Carol roasts her for not being very fun. The girls then approach June to watch a video of Tomo singing, but Tomo chases after them and makes them leave. One day Misuzu walks to the school and Tanabe greets her. She greets him back, which surprises him because the pathetic loser always gets ignored, and she then asks him who he even is. Later Tanabe tells June that he really wants to see Misuzu smile, so June tells him that Misuzu smiles a lot when she is talking to him. Tanabe thinks he is fooling around while June remembers how Misuzu always has a mean smile on her face when she is plotting something. Later June even asks Tomo whether Misuzu smiles a lot and she recalls that she doesn't smile often. June tells her the same thing, that Misuzu often smiles when they are together, which makes Tomo wonder whether Misuzu likes him. During break, Tanabe approaches Misuzu again and tries to make her smile by making funny jokes, so she puts tape on his face and kicks him out of the class. He then comes across Carol in the hallway whose face has also been taped shut. Carol then meets with Tomo and after the tape has been removed, she reveals that she tried kissing Misuzu on the cheek, due to which she taped her mouth shut. One time Tanabe directly approaches Misuzu and asks her what it will take for her to smile. She advises him to confess his feelings to her, after which she will reject him with a smile. Tomo also approaches her and asks her whether she smiles around June because she likes him. She gives a diplomatic answer that June is very likable depending who the other person is, and then starts to evilly smile because she successfully made Tomo jealous. One time, June confesses to her that she wants to try doing girlish things by hugging her female friends and being physically close with them. She reminds Misuzu that they have been friends since they were children because their mothers were friends, so they can hug too, but Misuzu gets grossed out by her. She ends up telling everything to Carol, who hugs Tomo when they next meet. Tomo thinks about how Carol smells nice and has a great body, which makes her even more depressed that she isn't girlish. Misuzu assures her that Carol is a special girl, so Tomo goes around and randomly hugs other girls just to get a feeling of normal girls too. Carol also goes around and hugs her all day whenever she finds her. Slowly Misuzu starts to become grumpier when she sees all this, and Tomo notices her mood, but she cannot figure out why Misuzu would be grumpy. She shares her concern with Carol, who realizes that Misuzu may be grumpy because of her. Carol approaches Misuzu and apologizes to her, but Carol assures her that it was her fault for using such attention-seeking methods. She confronts Tomo next and tells her that she won't mind being hugged, so Tomo envelopes her in a hug instantly. She then reminds her that she should hug June too, since he is always acting touchy and clingy with her. After school, Tomo approaches him from behind and hugs him as she yells that they should go home together. June becomes too surprised and he pushes her back. He tells her that she cannot be so touchy with him even if he is clingy, so Tomo smacks his face and starts fighting with him. During the weekend, June arrives at her house and even wakes her up. She beats him up again for infiltrating her room, and the ruckus ends up waking Tomo's mom Akemi. The both of them eat food together and Akemi reveals that Tomo's dad sleeps and eats at the dojo, due to which he rarely comes home. Later Tomo and June go to the dojo where her dad scolds them for coming so late. Akemi arrives and explains that she held them. She then puts a hand on his arm, which makes him pass out. Afterwards, Tomo tells June that it's really weird that her dad is still so cringe in front of her mom, which makes him think that she doesn't like when people act lovesick for their partners. She reveals that she still likes how her dad always protects her mom whenever she gets in trouble. The next day, Carol tells her that she wants to eat lunch alone with Misuzu because she wants some love advice. She puts her headband on her head and eventually Tomo has to eat lunch alone with June. Their classmates wonder whether they have finally started dating, and Tomo feels conscious of everything all around her. Meanwhile, Carol calls Masaki to join her for lunch and introduces him to Misuzu. He He greets her excitedly and asks her to take care of Carol. He starts raving about how Carol is like a little sister to him, and he even brushes some crumbles from Carol's melon, after which he walks away. Misuzu realizes that he doesn't see Carol as a woman even though she likes him a lot, and she advises Carol to start taking life more seriously. They join Tomo after eating lunch, and some of Tomo's classmates also come to ask her for advice. They tell her that one of them, named Ogawa, is being stalked by a third-year guy who keeps hitting on her relentlessly. She doesn't want to reject him outright or else he will bully her a lot, and they tell him that the guy actually has a really bad reputation. Tomo assures them that she will deal with the guy, and all of them approach the guy after school. Tomo asks him to back down, but he thinks she is just a silly girl and starts hitting on Ogawa again. Tomo then loses control and ends up kicking him, which sends him flying. He passes out and she assures the girls that she will protect them, which makes them blush. Later the guy gathers some bully friends and they all decide to teach Tomo a lesson, but June ends up overhearing their conversation. He kicks the guy down and beats the guys up. Later all of them approach Tomo and beg her for forgiveness. After they are done, she walks home with June and tells him about everything that has happened. She wonders why the guys even apologize to her even though she didn't beat them up, and June doesn't tell her anything. One day Carol invites Tomo and Misuzu to her house and they head to her home during the weekend. They almost get lost as they arrive at a huge palace-like place, and a woman finds them in front of the mansion. She keeps talking like a dumb wuss, which makes them realize that she may be related to Carol, so they tell her that they are Carol's friends. She thinks that Tomo may be a pervert, so Tomo clarifies that she is actually a girl. She then takes them inside where she reveals that the house is so big that she often gets lost herself. They all head inside where Carol's mom and Carol greet each other like they have met one another in years. Carol takes the girls inside and they all joke back and forth about how rich she is and how her mom treats her like a princess. Misuzu heads outside for the bathroom and her mom keeps following her everywhere. She asks her whether she is a bad girl since she was mean to Carol earlier, and Misuzu asks her what she would do if she were friends with her daughter just for money's sake. Her mom calls her cute and lets her go. Meanwhile Carol plays the Othello board game with Tomo where she wins. When Misuzu comes back into the room, Tomo asks her to play instead because she is really good at it, but she ends up losing to Carol as well. The day soon ends and both of them bid goodbye to Carol. Her mom tells them to come again, after which they both head back home. Soon the midterms arrive and Tomo starts freaking out at the very end, so Misuzu offers to tutor her. Carol asks to join the study group and June also offers to teach her. Misuzu reminds him that she came first in middle school ranks while he came at the 30th position, which puts him into depression. After school, they all head to Misuzu's house where Misuzu reveals that she forbade Tomo to come to her house when they were children because she always broke everything. Her mom arrives and mistakenly assumes that Tomo is actually Akemi because they look so familiar. They all study together and Tomo struggles to understand maths questions, so Carol explains to her in a goofy manner. She explains her explanation, which makes Misuzu mad, and they both decide to become serious before Misuzu becomes even more pissed. They listen to her and her lessons soon start to make sense. The midterms pass and Tomo gets decent marks, just a few ranks below June. On the other hand, Misuzu gets the second rank and to everyone's surprise Carol gets the first rank. Later June tells Tomo about a game he bought which reminds him of how he used to be a gamer kid when they first met. Her own parents don't let her buy games much and he invites her to his house so that they can both play games together. He even asks her to stay over the night and she excitedly agrees without thinking much. Later she realizes that she shouldn't have agreed to the sleepover and she decides to reject June's offer, but the girls force her to sit down and not say anything. After school, she makes an excuse to June that she is going home with Carol and Misuzu to avoid him. The girls tease her about staying over and remind her that she cannot avoid him forever. Afterwards she tells Akemi to avoid the stay over, so she starts planning for their grandchild. She then tells her dad, but he doesn't seem to care much about the stay. She then arrives at June's house and he informs her that his mom has gone on a trip, which makes her feel flustered since they will both be alone. They both eat dinner which June makes for her and she offers him to come to her house to try out her cooking too. She then decides to take a bath and June reveals that she can just reheat the water in which he took a bath in Indiana. She then becomes extra self-conscious, so she decides to take a shower instead. Meanwhile June gets awkward too and he slaps his cheek to prepare himself. Tomo returns from the shower and notices his red cheeks, but he doesn't let her come near him. She dries her hair and notices that the mood somehow seems awkward. He then hugs her from the side and announces to set the gaming station. They start playing soccer together and she keeps bumping him, which distracts him a lot. He still ends up winning and they both joke around with each other about her offensive gameplay. She falls against the bed laughing and the mood becomes awkward as they both realize how close they are. They then resume playing and soon they start to get sleepy since they are a bunch of kids who cannot even stay up late. Tomo then sleeps on his bed while he sleeps on the floor. He asks her whether they are going to be together forever, but before she can say anything he falls asleep. She notices his face in detail, so she starts to trace his face. He then wraps his arms around her and holds her tightly in his arms, due to which she cannot move out. She ends up falling asleep in his arms, and in the morning he wakes up to find Tomo sleeping beside him. He freaks out and immediately backs away. She then heads back to her home and things stay awkward between them for a week as they both remember how they slept together. One day June gives a pair of glasses to Tomo in the morning and reminds her that it's her birthday. She wears the glasses and jokes to him about being older than him. At school, she tells the same thing to Misuzu and jokes with her to call her older sister. Misuzu in return feels sick of her lame jokes and then gives her a birthday which turns out to be reference books. Carol also approaches them with a heavy load and then proceeds to drop a heavy gold bar on her desk. She comments that she couldn't carry a heavier bar to school, and Misuzu starts giving her advice on how to use her wealth for better use. They both decide to transform Tomo, so they call her to Misuzu's house during the weekend. They declare that they are going to take the chance to turn her into the most feminine self ever and then start working on her. Misuzu applies makeup on her, which makes her wonder whether she can ever turn into someone as beautiful as Misuzu if she applies enough makeup. Carol then does her magic on her and she wears a skirt plus a wig to top everything off. They compliment her look and then make her talk politely so that she seems more feminine. She tries speaking in a lower voice, which works out for her, and the both of them then ask her to bring ice cream for them from the nearby store. They kick her out of the house in the same getup because they believe everyone should get to see her new look. She heads to the nearby store where all the boys stare at her because she looks pretty. She instead thinks that they are only looking at her because she looks weird, and then comes across June, who is also at the store. He doesn't seem to recognize her, so she rushes inside and buys ice cream. She runs out in a hurry and falls flat on her face, so June approaches and asks her whether she is alright. He thinks that her face looks like Tomo's, but since she doesn't wear makeup he fails to connect the dots. He helps her up and she realizes that he is behaving very nicely with her, so she asks him to walk with her. They walk together for a while and he thinks that she is definitely not Tomo, since Tomo is a bit shorter than the girl, without noticing that she is actually wearing heels. Tomo notices that he is staring at her face, so she tells him to stop looking at her and even starts whining that she doesn't look good. He tells her that she looks pretty good, which really embarrasses her. They walk near a football ground where some kids are playing and she becomes hyped up as one girl scores a goal. They both then sit on the grass to watch their match, and Tomo reveals that she likes watching sport, which makes him comment that he likes such people. He notices a boy and a girl who seem like best friends on the field, so he starts ranting about how he has a best friend too who is really close to him. She asks him how their future seems to him, so he reveals that he just wants to beat her up for now. He points out that her ice cream has melted, so she runs away after bidding him goodbye. She arrives at Misuzu's house and discovers that the girls were planning a birthday surprise for her all along. They all eat cake together and she tells the girls about her encounter with June. She comments that she wanted to hear something else from him, which makes them think that she wants to be called cute. The next morning, she greets him at her gate and he starts pulling her cheeks, so she smacks his face in return. At the school, the sports tournament is coming soon, so Tomo becomes extra hyped up and she smacks the ball straight at the other team. The girls all run away and even the ball bursts, so she gets switched to the boys' team. For the first practice match, the first years compete with the third years, and all the third years think that the match is going to be a piece of cake because the other team has a girl in it. During the lineup, they realize that the other team actually contains Tomo and June, who have beaten them up before, and the match ends with instant victory for Tomo's team. Up next, the first years face the second year team, which also has Masaki. He warns his team that they need to prioritize their life in the match, and his teammates think that he is joking, but right off the bat, the dodgeball hits him in the stomach and he passes out. Tomo's team wins the match easily, and up next they have to play the final round against a team which has the school's strongest guy called Takeru. He is also the judo club's ace, and Misuzu and Carol also come to watch the final match after losing their own volleyball match. During the lineup, Takeru calls Tomo a fragile-looking girl, which makes her really happy, and he challenges June to a match. He asks him to join the judo club if he loses, so June also asks him to do something for him if he wins, but he cannot figure out what to ask him. The match begins and Tanabe notices that Misuzu is watching from the side. He makes a victory sign at her, but just then Takeru eradicates him by hitting the ball straight at him. He passes out and Takeru proceeds to take out the other guys one by one. Tomo taunts him to throw the ball at her, so he throws the ball at her next and June jumps in front of her. He gets knocked to the ground and Tomo becomes emotional because she thinks he was trying to protect her. He pretends that he has passed out too, so Tomo becomes furious and challenges Takeru to a one-on-one battle. She declares that she's putting all her strength in her next throw and she then throws the bazooka ball at him. The ball moves underneath his legs and gets past Atonement, who hits it back at Takeru. He gets out of the game and Tomo's team wins the match. Afterwards, the girls congratulate her and she wonders whether things can really remain the same between her and Jun. Takeru approaches Jun and challenges him to a judo match to make him lose. Jun wins the first match even though he is not a karate expert but rather a judo expert. They keep fighting each other for the next hours and Takeru ends up winning more matches than him. He still declares that he has lost and asks Jun why he doesn't participate in official matches. Jun reveals that he just wants to catch up to someone he knows, but things are starting to change due to which he doesn't know what to do. Afterwards he and Tomo walk home together and he thinks about how much he wants to be like her. Jun runs a lap around the town and he recalls how he met Tomo for the first time 10 years ago right after he moved from Tokyo. He used to be a big gaming nerd but Tomo approached him right off the bat and started asking him questions. He kept playing games as he answered her questions and Tomo then took his gaming console forcibly to play games too. She broke it after 2 minutes and Jun punched her face in anger. Rather than getting angry, Tomo asked him to punch her more because she broke something very important to him. Afterwards she even brought her hulk of a dad to his home who asked him for his forgiveness and offered to pay for all the damages. He became scared of her dad and Akemi then appeared behind the two of them. She started scolding them for making a mess and declared that she will settle the situation with his parents herself. Tomo then asked him to forgive and whether they can become friends afterwards. The both of them played together and he kept following her everywhere. They played almost every day together and he thought that she was just crazy for doing such outdoorsy things. One time she even pestered him by calling him the gamer kid and she asked him to call her by her real name since he never does it. He called her Tomo, which made her really happy while he kept wondering why his heart was beating so fast. After some time, Tomo introduced Misuzu to him and asked him to become friends with her too. She called him a country bumpkin and started to pick up a fight with him right off the bat, which made Tomo laugh at her. All of them headed out for an adventure and Tomo assured him that they are only catching bugs and not doing anything too wild. She led them to a place where they had to climb 200 steps to get to the top to catch the bugs and everyone started to climb the stairs. Soon Jun got tired while Tomo carried Misuzu up and Misuzu mockingly smiled at him to taunt his weak pathetic skills. He got fired up and raced all the way up. Tomo then arrived and Misuzu mocked him that she is the winner because she is standing while he is just lying breathless on the ground. He promised to make her cry like a baby and Tomo kept thinking that they are becoming great friends. They all then tried to catch bugs and Tomo caught a huge stag beetle, which made Jun really happy because he liked insects. Misuzu also pretended to like insects just to get Tomo's attention and to piss Jun off, which worked. He also caught insects on his own, which made him really happy and she teased him for finally smiling. Soon he started to catch up to her the more he played with her and he wanted to keep staying by her side because he wanted to feel like he was getting stronger. One time he was playing some games when some guys approached him and started fighting with him. Later Tomo and Misuzu noticed that his face had a scratch and he lied that he fell on his own. Tomo didn't believe him but instead she approached the neighborhood bullies and fought with them to get his gaming console back. She then gave it to him and he started fighting with her instead. She tackled him and put him to the ground as she explained that she will always help him out when he needs helping. He started crying because he thought he could never become strong and then he gave the console to her. He declared that she can keep the console until he becomes a stronger man than she is. Later he joined the dojo and started learning karate under her dad. In the present, he climbs the same stairs that they used to climb together in the past while Tomo plays games in his console as she wonders their promise to give the console back. During the summer vacations, all the girls and Jun decide to go to the beach together. Originally only Tomo and Jun had made the plan, due to which Misuzu even made Tomo buy a swimsuit and Carol then reminded her that they should see the look on Jun's face when he will see Tomo wearing a swimsuit. She then decided to go with them to the beach and in the present, the girls tease Jun as usual. They all arrive at the beach where the girls change into their swimsuits and Jun looks up to avoid looking at Carol's huge milkers. Tomo refuses to come outside so he rushes inside the changing cubicle and makes fun of her for wearing a hoodie. He tries to get the hoodie off of her but then notices her huge jugs him, after which he zips the hoodie back up. Carol and Tomo play in the water while Misuzu stays back in the shade and Jun stays in her company because he feels too tempted by the melons of the other girls. Tomo then rushes over to his side and tries to drag him away with her. She clings his arm to her body, which almost makes a virgin like him pass out, and Misuzu enjoys the spectacle from a distance. Jun then plays in the water with both the girls and some of their classmates notice Tomo. He also keeps trying to dodge Carol, who keeps pressing her melons against his arms, and Tomo throws water at Carol with full force to stop her. Her back starts to hurt due to which she takes a break and Misuzu tells her about how June likes girls with big chests due to which he keeps avoiding the both of them. Meanwhile a guy starts hitting on Tomo by calling her cute and she asks him to tell her in detail what he likes about her. He suggests that they both should move to a side to talk about such things in detail and even puts his arm around her, which makes her realize that he is actually a sleazebag. She thinks that she will kill him if she hits him and suddenly June appears between the both of them. He scares the guy off and then tells Tomo that he shouldn't have butted between them, otherwise people will start thinking that he is her boyfriend. Carol also gets surrounded by a bunch of guys, so he rescues her as well and she teases him that people may think they are a couple. He tells her that he doesn't care if people assume they are a couple, which makes Tomo think that he hates being paired with her but is fine with Carol. Misuzu then advises him to stay close to him at all times, so she brings ice cream to him and they eat it together. She keeps getting close to him, which bothers him a lot, but he doesn't say anything. Later they all head back and Misuzu notices that he seems really off, which makes her conclude that he has finally started to see Tomo as a girl. Carol and Misuzu soon spend a night at Tomo's house and they all play a game of king orders. Misuzu becomes the king in one of the turns and orders Tomo to go see the fireworks alone with June. She approaches him and asks him whether he would like to go see the fireworks together during the summer festival, so he asks her whether her friends will be accompanying them. She reveals that just the two of them are going, so he agrees to go out with her. Tomo heads back and thinks that he didn't seem too excited to go with her, while Carol reminds Misuzu that June and Tomo may soon end up together. Later June feels really happy about the fireworks plan and he recalls how Tomo told him that she loved him at the start of high school, but he dismisses the memory because he is sure she only likes him as a friend. At the same time, Tomo wonders why June is acting so strange the past few days and Misuzu thinks about how she can easily help Tomo act, but she is acting selfish. The summer festival day arrives and Carol asks Misuzu to accompany her and Masaki to the fireworks festival as well. Tomo appears to meet June in a yukata and he almost goes blind. She thinks that he is feeling sick while he fails to even look directly at her. They both arrive at the festival and one of the vendors welcomes June and asks him where Tomo is. Tomo scolds him for not recognizing her and she calls her a beauty after seeing her changed look. He takes a picture and sends it to the other vendors. Turns out that June and Tomo are both very popular in the festival because they beat all the games every year and they carry on the same tradition this year too. Misuzu also arrives at the festival with Carol and Masaki and sees them holding hands, so Masaki explains to her that Carol always disappears if he stops holding her hand even for 1 second. Tomo notices a beautifully crafted rose and just then two guys start hitting on her. June steers her away from them, which makes her feel really happy, but he then starts whining that she can take care of herself. She then thanks him for helping her out and he somehow gets too close to her without even noticing. He then snaps out of it and runs away to find a good spot to watch fireworks. Tomo wonders why he is acting so weird and whether he has finally started to notice her too. Misuzu notices the both of them from a distance and Carol makes her stay with her so that she doesn't disturb the lovebirds. Tomo decides to confess her feelings to him again, but she realizes that things will change between them if he understands her feelings this time. She doesn't want their relationship to change, so she doesn't confess and they both then watch the fireworks together. Afterwards, they both head home together and June realizes that he is definitely feeling something for her, due to which he can never have a punching match with her ever again. The new term begins and Tomo tells the girls that June is acting very creepy around her since he doesn't even touch her properly anymore, but before he used to cling close to her. She heads to her class and Misuzu starts to overthink about what will happen to her if June and Tomo become lovers now. After school, the third-year bullies discuss that they need to somehow get back at Tomo and they decide to take revenge on her by dealing with Misuzu. They approach her and ask her to come with them, so she threatens them with her creepy face. They also spot Carol and she tells them Carol is just a classmate, so they ignore her. Carol then tasers one of them, which knocks him out, and they both run away. They hide themselves in an abandoned factory while the guys look around for them. Misuzu then calls June and asks him to come help them out without telling Tomo. He lies to Tomo that he has got something to do, but she notices the bloodthirsty look on his face and makes him spill everything. He tells her about everything and Masaki also overhears their conversation. Meanwhile, Misuzu tells Carol that she considers her a friend, due to which she didn't want to drag her into the mess, and just then the bully finds her. Tomo appears behind him and starts to beat him into a pulp. Misuzu comments that she had a feeling Tomo would arrive, and at the same time June also beats the guys up. Tomo scolds him for not letting her beat everyone up and Masaki decides to leave the guys to the both of them as he starts to look for the girls. Misuzu helps Carol change her clothes because she had fallen down earlier, and just then Masaki finds the both of them. He assumes that the guys did indecent things to her, so he storms off and confronts the last guy, who was already being cornered by June and Tomo. He starts to beat him up and Carol has to explain the whole situation to him, after which he stops. Later, he becomes very awkward on learning that he entirely misunderstood the situation and Carol thanks him for protecting her. Misuzu makes Tomo leave the guys alone with her and she tells the thugs about how Tomo is the daughter of the famous Aizawa dojo master. They become scared immediately and she asks them to protect her friends at all cost from all the thugs in the area, otherwise they will have to pay with their lives. She walks out and finds that Jun has overheard all of the conversation. He points out that she could have just threatened the guys before too, but she deliberately wanted them to get beaten up. He then walks her home and the next morning Jun greets Tomo normally. In the past, Masaki was a very unpleasant spoiled child and one day his mom asked him to play with his cousin Carol. She called her an angel and when he met her, he thought that she was an actual angel. In the present, Masaki joins the karate dojo run by Masaki's dad and her dad calls him weak, but he notices that there is an evil spirit lurking underneath him. He then joins Tomo and Jun in their training and suffers as they continue to run around the town and up and down the stairs. Tomo's dad makes him do strength training next, which almost kills him, and next he gets ordered to fight in an actual match. He has to fight with Jun first and asks him whether Tomo will acknowledge him a little if he beats Jun. This hypes Jun even more and he lunges at Masaki with all his strength. Masaki realizes from the get-go that Jun is definitely very strong, especially since he was thinking he might be weaker than Tomo. He fights with him emotionally, so Jun advises him to remain level-headed and not get carried away in the heat of the moment. He still tries to at least land one last blow, so he rushes at Jun and gets punched in the stomach in return. He gets knocked out and wakes up in Tomo's room where she tries to console him that Jun doesn't really know how to hold herself back. He calls himself pathetic and she reminds him that he wants to get stronger for Carol's sake. He starts whining that Carol always gets in trouble, but he has never been able to help her and even remembers the last time when he lost his temper and beat the other guy up. Tomo assures him that he is not pathetic and that people need all kinds of strengths in real life. The next day, he heads to school with Carol and she calls him manly, so he tells her about how he has been training at Aizawa dojo with Tomo's dad. He declares that he wants to get acknowledged by Tomo and she asks him how he feels about Tomo. He reveals that he considers her his role model and wants to catch up to her, and that Tomo isn't just physically strong but also has a good character. Later, Carol approaches Jun and asks him to hang out with her. When she leaves his class, Misuzu asks her why she asked to hang out with him, but rather than answering him, she comments that things aren't going the way Misuzu wants them to go. After school, Jun and Carol meet at a park and he tells her that she can play sports with Tomo and Misuzu too. She reveals that she said something mean to Misuzu and that she is also doing something evil to Tomo, due to which she doesn't think things are going to remain smooth between them. He tells her that Tomo doesn't give up on a friend easily and decides to hang out with her for a little longer. He takes her to his house where she comments that she likes someone else and that it will be partially his fault if things don't turn out fine between them. She tells him that she is going to torture him a little and then proceeds to kiss his cheek. She jumps on top of him and he starts to become scared, so he blocks his face. She comments that he always seems scared of girls, including Tomo, and that she cannot be with Tomo if he keeps acting the same. He pushes her away and rushes out of the house to go to Tomo's house. She opens the door and he hugs her quickly in panic. He thinks that he cannot start Tomo as a girl unless he settles his score to her, and she offers to help him out in whatever trouble he is facing. He rejects her help and just then Carol appears behind them, which scare both of them. She apologizes to both of them and then walks away. The next day, she also apologizes to Misuzu for being mean to her and reveals that she told about her date to Masaki, who made a really weird face after hearing her out. Misuzu offers to help her get together with him as she thinks about how much of a trouble she can become if things don't go her way. Soon she approaches Masaki and asks him how he feels about Carol. He explains that he thinks she is his little sister, so she tells him to drop his act. He then declares that he loves her a lot and she wonders why he doesn't confess his feelings to her, especially since he knows she feels the same way towards her. He explains that he really likes her strength and doesn't want to hurt her, plus he finds her too beautiful to even look straight at her. She decides to help him out because she thinks that Masaki needs to see her in a vulnerable state to finally confess to her. She heads back into the class where Carol asks her about her talk with Masaki and she lies to her that she doesn't stand a chance at this stage as Masaki doesn't consider her a girl. She starts going on about how Masaki only considers her a daughter or a sister just to upset her or to make her drop her happy face. Carol calls her a liar and runs out of the class. She bumps into Tomo and Jun, who become scared when they see her face. She then goes home early and Misuzu rushes to tell Masaki that he needs to talk to Carol as soon as possible and see her face after she told her that he doesn't like her romantically. Soon Tomo approaches Misuzu and demands to know whether she said something to her that made her go home early. She declares that she said something mean to her, so Tomo tells her to drop the gangster act and just tell her what happened. Masaki rushes to Carol's house and her mom greets him by bumping her head with his to scold him. He then approaches her room and wonders whether she will greet him happily, but when he enters, he finds her crying her heart out. She smacks him with the pillow and he tells her that Misuzu was lying to her all along. He then declares to her that he loves her and she declares her love too. He explains to her that Misuzu lied to her so that he can confess his feelings to her. Later, Carol's mom tells him that she feels scared that Carol will get hurt if he says even one wrong word to her, and he assures her that she has many friends now who love her and take care of her. The next morning, Carol arrives in school with a bunny head costume, which makes her friends think that she is really mad. She scoots close to Misuzu and then kisses her cheek, after which she and Tomo make fun of her for losing the match. Soon the day of the marathon arrives, in which all students have to participate, and Jun and Tomo feel excited as they make bets on who will win the marathon. Carol points out to Misuzu that Tanabe keeps making signals at her, but Misuzu ignores him fully. The marathon begins and all the students make a run for it. The teacher notices Carol and Misuzu walking at the very end, so she prompts them to at least run in the beginning. Meanwhile, Tomo and Jun run ahead of everyone and she points out that he doesn't seem to be enjoying karate with her lately. He starts to argue, but she points out that at least he is giving his best to compete with her in the marathon. They try to beat each other, and meanwhile one of the teachers rides on a scooter with everyone. She arrives at the front and passes Tomo and Jun, but they both take it as a challenge and start to chase after her. Soon they both reach a point which is supposed to be the stop point for the girls, and he realizes they aren't even fighting fairly because girls are supposed to run less, but Tomo outruns him at the point. She calls him out that she will keep running since they are both supposed to fairly compete with each other. Meanwhile, Masaki runs with the track club boys and they compliment his skills, which starts to boost his ego, but then he sees Tomo and Jun making their second round, which reminds him that he is just a pathetic loser. Tomo runs ahead of Jun, so he tries to catch up to her, and suddenly she falls flat on her face. He rushes to her side and realizes that she has a fever, so she tells him that she was running for hours all day the previous day and she even passed out in her bath. She then falls unconscious and he starts freaking out because there is no one near them, but he thinks to himself that he needs to man up. He carries her on his back and then runs all the way to the finish line so that they both can come first. She wakes up in the infirmary room to find Misuzu freaking out over her, so she tells her to calm down. Jun arrives to check up on her and Misuzu advises her to fully take advantage of the situation since she is the sick one. Jun starts to lead her outside, so she asks him to carry her and he has to carry her on his back because she keeps whining about it. He feels her huge melons pressing on his back and soon he drops her into Akemi's car. She thanks him for his help while he reminds her that of course he is going to help her out whenever she is in trouble. Akemi then takes her to the hospital and soon her dad comes storming at the hospital to check up on her. Jun informs him about the hospital visit, so he storms away in a hurry. After some time, he visits her at her home and she whines about how Akemi isn't letting her go outside even though she is fine now. She then gives him back his gaming console and tells him that he has defeated her finally, but she is still stronger in some other turfs. Right before middle school started, Jun landed to hit Tomo for the first time in karate and she declares that it was a little sad since he was starting to catch up to her. He didn't understand why it wasn't more frustrating for her, and even her dad commented that it was bound to happen. Soon middle school started and he felt very excited to start going to school with Tomo. He saw her in a skirt for the first time and even made fun of her for wearing it because he thought Tomo was a boy. Afterwards, Misuzu told her that things will definitely change between her and Jun, but she didn't believe this. Someone asked Jun whether he was dating Tomo, which made him realize how awkward things are going to be now. During break, he overheard some girls asking Tomo whether she was going out with him, and it made him feel really bad that his company was making her look bad in front of others. One day, Tomo was talking to some dudes when Jun passed by her and he ignored her completely. Soon he started ignoring him altogether and they became just acquaintances who would just interact sometimes. 1 year passed by and he wanted to make up with her, but he didn't know how to do it. He wondered if he should get a girlfriend before becoming friends with Tomo so that people don't get a wrong idea about their relationship, and at the same time, Misuzu was wondering how she can better interact with Tomo since she is always doing outdoorsy things. She tells Jun to stop pitying himself and to make up with Tomo already. He then asks to go out with her and she agrees because it seems like fun. They head home together where she clarifies that she doesn't like him at all, and she then asks him to hold her hand. He holds her hand and starts sweating like a pathetic loner. They part ways and later they both cannot believe that they are actually in a relationship. Misuzu's barely existent feelings soon died down on their first date the next day when he took her on a bicycle ride on the mountains and almost killed her there. The next day they went fishing together where she got grossed out by all the insects, and at the end of the day she realized that she cannot tolerate him anymore. The next day at school she kept sulking and even told Tomo that she cannot be friends with her any longer. Tomo dragged her out of the classroom and she explained to her that she is always doing athletic activities due to which she cannot keep up with her. Tomo assured her that she likes doing such activities but the time she spends with her is even more important for her. Things turned out fine between them, so she went to June to dump him, but before she could say anything to him, he dumped her first, which fueled her hate even more. He then approached Tomo to sort things out with her and they both walked home together. He kept overthinking things due to which he didn't hear her when she was calling his name, so she punched him hard. She asked him why he is talking to her after ignoring her for a year and even started crying, so he apologized to her and told her to stop crying. She punched him again and he told her that he didn't want other students to think that they were dating, due to which he was avoiding her. They made up and resumed their friendship after that. One day Tomo tells Misuzu that she wants to start working because she has no money to buy Jun a gift for his birthday. Misuzu doesn't believe that she even knows basic things, so she decides to work with her and Carol declares that she will start working part-time too. Tanabe overhears their conversation and offers them jobs at his family restaurant. They all soon go to his restaurant where his dad Tatsuro welcomes them and explains that his wife has gone to visit her family, due to which they need help. The girls wear their uniform, which turns out to be very girlish, and Tanabe reveals that he designed them. Misuzu continues to wear normal clothes and they start working as the restaurant opens up. Tomo awkwardly greets the customers, so Misuzu greets them next and leads them inside. She seems to be natural, and meanwhile Carol also keeps messing up, so Misuzu asks her to become a restaurant panda rather than deal with customers. She gets stationed out of the restaurant and Tanabe makes a comment to Misuzu that it seems like she has married into his family. She makes him repeat the same statement over and over again till he apologizes for ever saying anything. Carol starts to attract a crowd as she makes weird panda noises, and just then June also comes to the shop to eat ramen. Misuzu taunts him as she leads him to his seat and even teases him about Tomo's uniform. Tomo then serves him ramen and asks him to laugh if he wants to, but he doesn't think that she looks bad at all. After the meal, she shows him outside and tells him that she is going to work there for at least a week, so he promises to come again. She becomes overexcited and the girls continue to work hard as they get more customers than ever. They work for 3 days, after which Tanabe's dad gives them money and they offer to help him out whenever he needs help. They head out and find June waiting for Tomo, so the other girls head their own way while Tomo heads home with June. She points out how he came to the restaurant every single day, which makes him comment that he came for her sake and that he enjoyed eating the ramen which she brought for him. Some day later, she gives him his birthday gift, which turns out to be a watch, and she wears the same watch herself too, which also makes him excited. She also proposes to have a birthday party at his place, but he reveals that his mom is coming home late, so they should hold the party at her place instead. After this incident, Tomo asks Misuzu one day at school what she can do to make June think that she is really girlish. Misuzu advises her to let him touch her chest or somehow make body contact with him. She even devises a plan as she takes Tomo to the stairs and tells her that she will push June on her. Tomo doesn't think it's a good idea, but Misuzu taunts her that she cannot June anyway, which makes her agree to the idea quickly. June arrives and just then Misuzu pushes him down the stairs towards Tomo. He dodges her at the last second and instead rushes into Carol accidentally. He ends up touching her chest, which makes him freak out, so he starts apologizing to her again and again. He asks Tomo to hit him and she beats him up good. Later Misuzu feels bad for being so mean towards them and she accidentally ends up slipping from the stairs. She then falls on Tanabe and instead of scolding him, she asks him whether he is alright. He thinks that she has cracked her head and she asks him to let her atone somehow, so he asks her to change contact information. She also tells Carol that she has realized that she always gets in the way of June and Tomo, and Carol assures her that she is not such a bad person. She then hugs her, so Misuzu pushes her away swiftly. The next day Misuzu stays home and she tells Carol that she is sick but doesn't message Tomo. Some days pass by as Misuzu stays home and the school starts its preparation for the cultural festival. Tomo's class prepares for a Cinderella play and they choose students for the cast. After school, Tomo goes to Misuzu's house and gives her a bunch of snacks to eat. She tells her that she is jealous that she is closer to Carol now and asks her to not overthink things if something is really bothering her. She also leaves the Cinderella script on her bed and leaves her alone. Misuzu then reads the script and realizes that she has been casted as the Cinderella, so she rushes to the class the next day and raises hell over the casting. She learns that Carol had asked the class to make her Cinderella, so she pulls her cheeks till she is begging for forgiveness. June makes fun of her for being Cinderella, so the girls beat him up because he is only a tree in the casting. Everyone then practices for the play in which Carol is the stepmother and Misuzu continues to act like the devil, which scares all the girls. She then drags Tomo to the roof to practice their lines because Tomo is the prince in the play and Tomo continues to awkwardly recite all the lines. Tomo discusses with her that no one will look at her as a girl if she plays the part successfully, and Misuzu tries to cheer her up. She also thinks that she made Tomo think that she needs to act more girlish in order to be liked by June, so she needs to break the curse now. Soon the whole cast tries on their dress and the girls swoon over Tomo because she looks really handsome. Even Misuzu looks breathtaking and Tomo dances with the girls while Misuzu keeps thinking what she should do to atone to Tomo. Later Tomo heads home and asks June to practice her lines with her. He acts as the Cinderella and becomes embarrassed talking to her, but they keep practicing for a while. The day of the cultural festival arrives, in which everyone gathers in the auditorium to watch Cinderella play, and even Tomo and her friends' parents come to watch them. Misuzu's mom reveals that Misuzu told her that there was no cultural festival, due to which she will now film her performance as revenge. The play begins and Tanabe narrates the play as Misuzu appears on the stage as the pitiful Cinderella who keeps getting bullied by her family. Carol appears as the evil stepmother and her mom starts fangirling over her loudly, due to which other moms try to shut her up. Tomo appears with all her princely charms and she plays the part perfectly, which makes all the girls in the audience swoon too. The play progresses while June thinks about how Tomo sometimes wants to act feminine and sometimes boyish, and Misuzu thinks to herself that she made Tomo think that she should act girlish. The play ends with all the cheers from the audience, and after the play, June asks Tomo to walk around the festival with him. They visit a cafe and then the haunted house where Masaki scares Tomo a lot, so she in return tries to punch him. June holds her off and they both enjoy doing all the activities in the festival. Afterwards, they challenge each other to eat the most food and Tomo wonders what is going to happen to their relationship. At the end of the festival, everyone dances around the bonfire, including Masaki and Carol as well. A bunch of girls ask Tomo to dance with them and then June appears to ask her out, so she accepts his offer. Misuzu starts to feel lonely because she is a loser and Carol comes to keep her company. June and Tomo dance together and she teases him that people may get the wrong idea if they see them dancing together. He comments that he doesn't find such a thing wrong and she becomes very embarrassed, so she runs away. The next morning, she greets him by tackling him energetically, but when he tries bringing up the topic after the after party of the festival, she avoids him and runs away again. She arrives at school to find Carol hugging Misuzu to keep her warm due to the winters. Carol asks her whether something happened between her and June during the festival, but she declares that nothing happened and runs away again. The girls realize that something may have happened and Misuzu wonders why Tomo is running away from the situation. June comes out clean to Masaki that he likes Tomo, and Masaki in return advises him to confess straight to her about his feelings. June thanks him for the advice and Masaki explains to him how someone made him confess his feelings to Carol, due to which he is working hard to become the man who deserves her. June then decides to grow some balls to confess to her, and he approaches Misuzu first to clear something up. He tells her that he loves Tomo and then apologizes to her. He explains that he has loved Tomo for years now, but he couldn't probably accept the feelings because he didn't want to hurt her. She realizes that he was worried about her because of their brief relationship of 3 days, so she tells him to forget about her and focus on Tomo only. He then thanks her for always looking out for the both of them, and as he walks away, she asks him whether she was his first love. He recalls Akemi's melons and answers that she wasn't his first love, so she declares that she has never loved anyone either. Tomo gets a letter of challenge from someone anonymous asking her for a duel at the rooftop after school. After school, she excitedly rushes to the roof and finds June waiting for her there. He asks her to hit him and explains that when she confessed to him at the start of high school, he ignored her. She realizes that he had understood everything and had still ignored her, so she asks him whether he was also deliberately ignoring her when she was trying to act girlish for his sake. He admits that he never noticed she was trying to become girlish, so she hits him hard in the stomach. She thinks to herself that June is now trying to face the situation without ignoring her, but she is only the one running away. She starts to walk away, but he stops her and tells her he loves her even if her feelings have changed by now. She calls him an idiot and runs away. Later in class, she whines about the whole situation to the girls and Carol teases her for calling June an idiot. Tomo wonders how her relationship with June is going to change now, and Misuzu decides to come out clear and admit everything. She declares that she has to confess something and Carol starts to walk away, so she stops her and makes her sit down. She then starts crying and admits that Tomo never needed to change herself to become girlish. Tomo tries to console her and she tells her to settle everything with June once and for all. Tomo calls her best friend and then runs away while Carol hugs her to console her. Tomo finds June and declares that she won't ever run away now. They walk home together and she asks him whether he really loves her, so he declares that he really loves her. She keeps asking him and he repeats the same thing again and again. She asks him whether he is fine with not being best buddies anymore, and he answers that he still wants them to remain best buddies. She calls him selfish and he takes her to the temple stairs where they have always raced. He takes off running on the stairs, so she runs after him. After they reach the top, he explains that he always wants to keep competing with her like this and wants to be her partner as well. He calls her his rival plus best buddy plus his girlfriend, so she declares that she loves him as well. He then rolls down the stairs in shock and yells out in happiness. One day after school, Tomo apologizes to June because she cannot walk home with him, and he tells her that he won't mind a single thing from now on. Her friends tease him about being laid back, so he comments that he doesn't want to be the guy who holds Tomo down. Her friends beat him up for being so smooth while Tomo blushes like a virgin fool. Later, all the girls eat at a restaurant and Tomo vents out that she is the only one always being frustrated while June is always relaxed. Carol suggests that she should try kissing him, but she finds it too embarrassing, so Misuzu advises her to watch a romantic movie with him instead so that he can get an idea about kissing. Afterwards, she and June meet on Christmas and he finds her looking really cute, so he compliments her a lot, which makes her blush. She then shows him the movie that they are going to watch and even teases him that they are not kids anymore so they can watch such romantic movies. She recalls that she had to look at the kissing poster for 1 week to get used to it, and they both watch the movie together. She decides to put her hand on his hand when the kissing scene comes to give him a hint, but the movie turns into adult mode as both characters start. Tomo starts to get flustered and even hides her face while June watches the movie with full focus. They both eat food after the movie and she points out that he seemed really focused during the movie, so he comments that he never liked romantic movies before, but now he enjoys watching them because he loves her. He gives her a Christmas gift, which turns out to be a pair of earrings, and she wears them on the spot. She thinks that they look weird on her while he thinks that they look perfect on her. She also gives him a handmade muffler as a gift, and he wears it on the spot too, even though it isn't well made. They then walk around the market and she thinks that she has become greedy since she wants to make June like her even more now. They decide to head home and she tells him that she wants to go to his house instead. He then takes her to his house where he reveals that his mom is coming home late. He proposes to play games, but she rejects the idea and he tells himself to calm down. He reminds himself that she has come over many times before, but then she touches his knees and asks him whether she can sit beside him, which almost knocks him out. She then sits beside him and the situation becomes too awkward, so Tomo yells out that she has had enough. She declares that she has come to kiss him, and seeing his shock, she starts wondering whether she has no feminine appeal after all. He quickly grabs her shoulders and then punches himself roughly. He also declares that he wants to kiss her and touch her all the time, but he cannot do it thoughtlessly since he hasn't even asked her out yet. He explains that he went to her parents to get their blessings and that Akemi gave him her blessings, but her dad asked him to beat him up first, otherwise he won't agree. Meanwhile, Akemi and Tomo's dad discuss the situation and she scolds him for not giving June his permission to date Tomo. Tomo storms inside and demands to know why he hasn't given his permission to let June date her. She keeps venting out her anger and then storms off after declaring that she hates him. Soon, the new year arrives and both Misuzu and Carol go to the shrine together. They discuss that they cannot get in touch with Tomo and that something must be going on with June. Meanwhile, June also tries to meet with Tomo, but her mom says that she doesn't want to meet anyone for now. She proposes that he can fight Tomo's dad since he is also feeling down, but June doesn't think it's a good idea since he doesn't feel like fighting anyone either. School starts soon and June confronts Tomo about the whole situation. She feels angry that he didn't tell her about anything and he explains that he doesn't want her to wait for him. He declares that he already intended to beat her dad as a life goal, but now he will face him head on. She smacks his face and heads to class. Misuzu and Carol find her and drag her to the roof where she spills everything to them. She comments that June can probably beat her dad if he trains for a few more years, and her friends wonder whether it's alright with her. Misuzu asks her whether she really wants to play the role of the silent heroine who is only waiting for the guys to decide things for her. After classes, June tells Tomo that he is going to challenge her dad finally and then leaves. Tomo's dad is meditating in the dojo when June attacks him out of nowhere and reminds him that he asked him to challenge him whenever he wants. He also brings Akemi with him to the dojo to have an unfair advantage. Tomo also practices karate with Masaki and almost breaks his back as she keeps thinking about the whole situation. Masaki tells her that he already knows about the whole situation and that June doesn't want to give up on her. He advises her to support June in the fight and not give up on him either. She then storms out and rushes to the dojo. Tomo's dad beats June up and tells him to give up already, but he keeps getting up. Tomo then barges in and tells him that it's their fight against her dad, but if he loses, she will fight him next and make sure he loses. He realizes that she is fully supporting him and he then starts thinking about how to beat him. Tomo's dad seems to intentionally be making wider swings so that he can get a punch, and June tries to take advantage of the wider swing but gets punched back. He gives it one more go and after dodging his swing, he punches his face finally. Tomo's dad stumbles back but declares that he hasn't lost and Akemi smacks his head. He admits that June has won and both Tomo and June celebrate his win. Afterwards, he asks her whether she wants to go out with him and she then kisses him in return. They both challenge each other on who can make the other person's heart race more. Will their love story have more twists and turns? Comment your thoughts below and make sure to like and subscribe the channel for more anime recaps.